Porzingis?
The answer is Kristaps Porzingis.
Really?
Now, Karl-Anthony Towns is a better player right now, all that stuff. I'll leave that to you, Stephen A., if you want to argue that. Here's the bottom line about Kristaps Porzingis. He is the kind of player that in a couple of years, the Eastern Conference going into every single offseason, every single GM in the Eastern Conference is going to be faced with the same question. How do we deal with Porzingis? He is 7'3" and can shoot the three this year. It's only his second season at a 40% clip. He can play defense. He can control the paint. He can step out on guys. I mean, he can close out on shooters. He can put the ball on the floor against any big man, any center, facing up. He can do all kinds of things that no one who's ever lived at that height can do. No one who has ever lived at that height can do. And Karl-Anthony Towns, amazing overall talent, the whole thing.
Karl-Anthony Towns is a stud. He is 7 feet. It ain't like he's some 6-foot guard or something like that. Yeah, Porzingis is 7'3", but Karl-Anthony Towns is 7 feet. He can play with his back to the basket. Porzingis really can't. He can shoot. He can get his shot off, no question about it. I love the fact that Porzingis also blocks shots, but Karl-Anthony Towns can do it all. He was a guy that was considered relatively soft in high school because he was too busy shooting jumpers, and then he went to Kentucky, and Calipari made it clear to him, you better not shoot any damn jumpers when you here. We're going to put your behind down low. And he helped that boy develop a post game, which is why he ended up being the #1 overall pick. Karl-Anthony Towns is somebody I slept on as well. This brother's legit. He's big time. He's a go-to guy. He's a #1 offensive option. And the same arguments that you made in terms of teams in a conference having to watch out for him. How are we going to deal with this guy? This guy being able to guard not just down low, but away from the perimeter. These are all things you can also say about Karl-Anthony Towns.
Yo, YouTube, what's crackalackajackasmacin? It's Waffleman with a video. And yo, man, listen. Karl-Anthony Towns versus Kristaps Porzingis has been a big thing over the past few weeks. Mainly because they're both from the same draft class. They both were drafted last season, of course. You know, Towns last season was, I think he had a unanimous Rookie of the Year vote. So he won the Rookie of the Year. He was averaging like, I think 20 points per game. Porzingis, or 19 points per game. Porzingis last year averaged 14 points per game, about 7 rebounds per game. And this year, people are seeing the hot start in Porzingis. You know, like I said in the offseason, is he going to average more than 19 points or less than 19 points? Obviously, I said more, and a lot of you guys agree that he'd average more 19 points. Right now, he's averaging about 20 points per game, almost 21 points per game if it wasn't for that game yesterday. But the Knicks versus the Timberwolves, back-to-back home and home. First game, Knicks win on the Timberwolves home turf. Towns put up 47 points, 18 rebounds. That man grabbed the same amount of rebounds that Westbrook grabbed against the Knicks. 18 as well. So that's kind of crazy. Knicks got to do a better job of boxing out. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because Joakim Noah's out. But the Knicks are now 4-0 without Joakim Noah. Which is kind of making me feel not good. Because, you know, when we play without Joakim Noah, for some reason the team is just better. And I don't know, man. That contract we signed him to now, it's just cringeworthy. But 47 points, that man Towns was dominating the Knicks. In the first quarter of that game, I was watching it. He had 22 points, 8 of 8. At that point, I was like, he's dropping 50. Like, this man's going to have a career night. He's dropping 50. He has 22 points, 8 of 8 in the first quarter, shooting 100%. Already got like, what, 9 rebounds already. I'm like, this guy is going to have a crazy night. If the Knicks lose this game, but they did it. Because Carmelo Anthony put the dagger in them again with the game-winning shot, of course. But Porzingis also had a stellar night as well. People slept on Porzingis' great night because Towns had a better night than Porzingis. But Porzingis had 29 points, had 8 rebounds, I believe. So he had a good night as well for the Knicks. Carmelo Anthony was struggling. He was the only person on the Knicks out of the starters that was really dominating out there. So his 29 points was quiet, but it was impactful. So when we come to yesterday's game on Friday, let's be real, both of them had terrible games. I mean, Towns shot 5 for 18. First of all, Porzingis actually he's playing some good defense on Karl-Anthony Towns. And Kyle Quinn They did a good job on Karl-Anthony Towns last game. I don't know how the Knicks, I guess, you know, Jeff Hornacek did a great job in transitioning from that game where Towns scored 47 to yesterday games where Towns scored what? He scored like what, 22 points? But I think he scored 22 or 18 points. But he shot 5 of 18 from the field. This man had like 0 points in the first quarter. And I think he had like what, 2 points or 4 points? Somewhere he had a low amount of points at halftime, man. This guy was getting clamped up. And I applaud Jeff Hornacek and the defensive staff for coming up with a good game plan. Shout out to Kyle O'Quinn for the blocks. Shout out to Porzingis for playing that good D on Karl-Anthony Towns. That helped us win the game. But Porzingis also had a bad game offensively. He wasn't hitting his shots. Towns was also getting some good defense on Porzingis. So it begs the question, after you've seen the first 6 videos now, after we watched them play 2 games back-to-back, home and home, who do you think, or who would you take? That's a better question. Who would you take for your team for the future? Kristaps Porzingis or Karl-Anthony Towns? Like, Karl-Anthony Towns was the first overall pick in the NBA draft. You know, he was expected to be dominant. Porzingis last year, not that many people knew Porzingis. 4th overall pick. You see Knicks fans booing. You see a kid crying on national television. Cut it out. I mean, you know, people had them skepticism about Porzingis, but you know, we had some hope as well because Porzingis, you know, we're seeing him in practice last year before the draft and the early pre-draft stuff. His shot was there, 7-3, looked good moving with the ball, looked good moving without the ball. So we can see that potential for him to be something great, and it's coming into fruition right now. You see, he's 7'3", and the moves he pulling on, you know, Stephen A says Karl-Anthony Towns could back down, but Porzingis is getting stronger, you know, with his lower body strength. He's getting stronger, and not only that, his post game is actually improving this season as the games progress. He's actually backing down in the post, especially versus smaller guys, because when they set that pick and roll, it's such like Kristaps Porzingis' pick and roll is so deadly because he can shoot the 3 ball. Literally, he likes to spout up from 3 and stay out there, and he's shooting 40% from that range. 40%. Now, let's not act like Karl-Anthony Towns isn't shooting 38%, 39% from 3-point range. So we gotta remember that. But Porzingis at 7'3" is gonna be really tough to contest that shot, especially since he has the ability to really dribble well. Like you gotta watch Knicks games, man. I'm telling you, watch the Knicks game, and I understand, you know, the Timberwolves. I don't know why the Timberwolves are losing. You know, Timberwolves fans, let me know why you're losing. I've been hearing that 4th quarters are problems for your team, but you know, people are saying that, you know, Porzingis has Melo. Well, Karl-Anthony Towns has Andrew Wiggins, Zach LaVine. I know Porzingis got Derrick Rose and Carmelo, but don't act like Towns is on the scrub team either, even though, you know, they're losing right now. But let me know, man, who would you take? In my opinion, I'm hoping, because I'm a Knicks fan, of course, but I hope that Porzingis will have be better in the long run. But both of them are going to be monsters, man. Either one of them are going to be dominant. Porzingis at 7'3", because Towns has some crazy post move, man. I was watching that game. This man has incredible footwork, man. The footwork he has is incredible. For such a young guy to have that footwork, he's going to be a beast in the paint, especially once he just keeps on developing, man. These guys are going to be outstanding. But anyways, let me know in the comment section who you think. And I'm going to leave this sports science video at the end of this video. So anyways, I'm out for now. Peace.
To analyze one of the most versatile players in the NBA, we brought New York's Kristaps Porzingis into the ESPN Sports Science Lab. During our agility test, Porzingis was able to dribble through 3 poles on average in less than 2.4 seconds. That's actually on par with some of the top NBA point guards we've tested in the lab, despite Porzingis being more than a foot taller than the average NBA floor general. And combining that quickness with his enormous 7'3" wingspan makes Porzingis a beast on D. But with no official max vert on record, we wanted to see exactly how high Porzingis can get to block a shot. Using apple boxes will increase my height until I can get off a shot.
Oh, look at that! Oh.
We'll start with my release point of about 6 feet.
Let's bring in some apple boxes.
So we went higher. And higher. And even higher. Finally, after 10 shots, 9 apple boxes, 1 ladder, and a safety harness, I was able to get a shot off at 12 feet above the ground.
Can't block this. This is the unblockable shot.
That's how I feel when I shoot.
And further testing showed that Porzingis can, in fact, get even higher. We measured his max touch at nearly 12 feet 3 inches. That gives him a max vert 2 inches higher than Blake Griffin's. All this means, on defense, Porzingis can present an obstruction about the size of a 47-passenger charter bus.